presenter Garrett Martell of Two Day Painting from Waukesha, Wisconsin. With a master's degree in marketing and management and a start with College Pro Painters, Garrett Martell now owns 3 successful companies in the home improvement industry, including Two Day Painting. His focus on creating business systems and becoming an expert in sales has allowed Garrett to reach his goal of doubling and sometimes tripling his business year after year since the start. Ladies and gentlemen, Garrett Martell.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to discuss marketing. Welcome everyone. Thank you for the introduction. First, here we go. Bear with me as I'm figuring out how to run the slideshow from my phone. So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and about my companies. I'm going to go over some basic marketing principles, how to evaluate campaigns successfully, various digital and traditional marketing avenues, and my successes and failures with each one of them. Pay for performance and some really unique, programs that I use that somebody might be able to take advantage of. And really going into direct mail in depth and how to really master a campaign like that. And then we're going to Q&A right after that point. So first of all, a little bit about me. I'm 30 years old, just had my 30th birthday about a month ago, actually. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have my master's from UWW in marketing and management, did College Pro in 2012, no painting experience back then. I started Two Day Painting in January of 2014 after I graduated. I actually had no money to my name, I had to put myself through college. I opened up a $10,000 credit card and was able to actually cash flow my business through that the first year. Bought some cheap equipment, flyers, had those printed out at my local school library, and just did a bunch of canvassing door to door to generate on my first year. And then a few years ago, I started TradesFix. We manage direct mail marketing campaigns. I'll go into a little bit about that at the very end if people want me to. And then right now, this year we didn't grow as much with COVID. We weren't sure how things were going to pan out, but we're still going to grow a little bit. About $4 million in painting specific sales this year, about 2/3 exterior, 80% residential repaint. And for fun, I really like to play volleyball. I travel a lot. I do a lot of outdoor activity in general. I'm actually in Atlanta right now for the night, going on a 2-week road trip here. Just came from Charleston, and now I'm going to hang out in Atlanta for a little bit. The next slide. A little bit about the marketing history. I talked a little bit about the first year, canvassing and flyers and newspaper boxes and getting my start from that. In 2015, I started direct mailing postcards through EDDM, doing trade shows, testing digital avenues like PPC and SEO. 2016, I really tried to grow my business a lot. That was probably my largest year of growth as a percentage point. We tried almost everything but TV, radio, Valpak, bunch of digital banner ads, Facebook, grocery carts, magazines, you name it. In 2017, I started really focusing on how to target more efficiently and lower my marketing costs and all the different revenues. Track those really well to start minimizing expenses. Most of my success was that year was through highly targeted mail and building online reviews. You can get a lot of free leads from online reviews. 2018, my marketing cost relative to total sales was 5.2%. 2019 was 3.6%. And this year, I'm actually only estimating a 1.4% marketing cost. We're spending less than $60,000 on a $4 million business. So I'm pretty excited about being able to pull that one off. A few basic marketing principles for painters is, seasonal demand changes. Obviously, as we all know, you're going to get a lot more people calling you in the springtime period in most markets than you will in the wintertime period. So you want to be able to, manage expectations of any campaign through that. In the painting industry, it's very difficult to create new demand. It's all about timing. It's hard to convince someone to, uh, paint the outside of their house if they never had that in mind before. They notice there's peeling paint out, or they want to change the color, they want to get it painted, and now all of a sudden, or they Google you, they see your ad come up, they find your reviews, they see your Facebook ad, they get your postcard in the mail, they hear you on the radio, uh, etc. But so my philosophy is try to capture as much of that organic demand as you possibly can, and really be there when they need a painter. The importance of branding. One of the main reasons I've been able to lower my marketing costs year after year is because I've done so much advertising, especially when I was growing the business. It's created a lot of residual business year after year. People see those cards in the mail all the time. They see your trucks rolling around, your yard signs, and a lot of your marketing sources start doing better and better. Um, we can, we're being getting about 40 to 50 organic leads per week this year on average, which has been pretty exciting. One of the main reasons I've been able to keep that marketing cost down so low. Everything you do now creates residual sales in the future. Most people think about various marketing channels as in if they spend $1,000 and they don't get it back within a month, times 10 or times 15 uh, in sales, it's a waste of time. When really, every time you get a customer, they're likely to do about 5 projects over about a 10-year period on average. They're going to refer people in the future. You're going to continue to build that brand, and it spirals every single year. You have more and more success from past efforts. So it's worth investing a little bit in the front run in marketing to really help build your business. And really important to balance marketing with sales or production capacity. So, how many estimators do you have? How many leads do you need a week? How much sales can you actually produce? How many painters do you have? And my goal is to always keep the backlog out about 3 to 5 weeks or so, ideally, with production, and out about 2 to 5 days on estimates, if we can. So the really cool thing about marketing is once you get it becomes a science eventually. You do so much direct mailing, you do so much pay per click, you do so much of anything else, and you can guesstimate, pretty decently how many leads you're going to get with a certain amount of spend and a certain amount of efforts. And then you can make it a math equation and really try to maximize all those formulas. And then online reviews. I can't tell you how important it is to build those online reviews. Uh, right now, we are actually have the most amount of reviews, as far as I'm aware, in the state of Wisconsin. It's not that many, but I think we have 140 maybe Google reviews. And that alone has brought in a lot of leads. Google Maps is king. People searching painters near me or whatever they're searching, and you come up with 140 reviews when everyone else is coming up with 2 or 3 reviews. It makes a pretty powerful difference, and we generate a lot of organic leads from that on Google. So a little bit about evaluating campaigns. You want to decide which avenue is right for you. Uh, what is going to be your predicted ROI from that source? If you spend $1,000 on something, are you going to get $10,000 in sales, $15,000, $2,000? What other benefits are there? Are you helping charity? Are you branding? How much can you afford to spend? What is your budget point? How much in sales are you looking to add? Uh, sometimes people go a little crazy with it and then they book themselves out for 6 months and you just spend a lot of money on marketing that you can't have the production capacity to produce. Sometimes you're better off, balancing it and not spending as much. And what will not only help with lead generation, but also branding. There are a lot of different ways that you can spend your money with marketing, but one example is a lead generation service like Home Advisor or companies like that. You're not the only people that see you are the leads that you pay for. With a lot of other sources, like Facebook, you get a ton of impressions, per lead. You're building a brand. uh, yard signs, trucks. People see that all over the place. Postcards, you send out thousands and thousands of postcards, and a lot of people are seeing your name and going to recognize you in the future. Uh, there's various marketing rules. One of them is a rule of 7. They say that for most services, people need to see your name on average about 7 times before they're consider buying from you. So the more you get your name out there, the more you do, the more they recognize you, the more they're going to consider you for future projects. And then obviously reporting is absolutely necessary. Track everything based upon lead source. I like to track obviously the return on investment per lead source, the number of leads, the closing rates per lead source. Some lead sources like referrals or repeat, you're going to have very high closing ratios. And others, maybe Home Advisor or companies like that, you might not have as strong of closing ratios. Total sales per estimator, number of estimates performed, etc. But the better you track it, the better it is. I also track by zip code in most of my marketing as well. So we can see all the zip codes per lead sources of all the customers that come in on a weekly basis. And what this does is, especially for direct mailers, I can cross-reference it with the number of postcards that I send out and know exactly what my response rate was per zip code. And then if I notice some are really failing, I can delete those for future reference, and your campaign always gets better. This makes a big difference for everything that you do. If you're spending a ton of money on Facebook and all your leads are coming from 2 zip codes, start putting more money into those 2 zip codes, and maybe those zip codes that you're just never getting leads from, you don't need to. And have a strong CRM system. You want to be able to get accurate reporting is absolutely essential. So I'll go into a little bit about some of the digital advertising that we do. Having just a strong web presence is key in general. Have a good website with a lot of good information that's well designed, that customers will be impressed to see you. You can do all the marketing in the world, but if you don't impress them when they get to your website or Facebook page or Better Business Bureau profile, however they look you up, you're going to lose that lead. So make sure you have a strong way of converting leads into actual appointments. I'm personally, this might be a little controversial, but I'm personally not a huge fan of paying for ongoing SEO. I've spent a lot of money on SEO in the past, and it seems like most of my SEO success is from Google Maps and online reviews. That's where I'm getting the most amount of traction. And I'm not sure if all that money I spent really ended up paying off for me at all or not. Now, I personally rather spend the money on pay-per-click, getting on the top of Google AdWords, than spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month or whatever on ongoing SEO services. So if you really focus your attention on generating as many reviews as physically possible, call every customer afterwards a couple times, ask them to leave you a review, send them over links, follow up with them a few different times, send them thank you notes when they do, and really focus on customer service. And you build those reviews, and you're going to have a lot more success on SEO. But also make sure that your website is optimized for SEO and for mobile, and that it's got good information on there, so you can take advantage of the most important part of it. Pay-per-click, I can't say enough about pay-per-click. It's especially over the winter time periods when demand is slow, you're only paying for customers who physically click on your ads. So you're just taking the low-hanging fruit. Make sure you have a powerful campaign. Whoever's managing your campaign, make sure that they're doing a great job, and that your cost per lead is, right now our cost per lead is about $110, $120 per lead on average with Google AdWords. And I'll take those all day, even though some of my other advertising efforts are cheaper. Why not add those to the group? I have noticed though, with some of these digital ads, our closing rates are lower than with other sources. I think people might shop around a little bit more when they're on Google or Home Advisor or sites like that. Now, we've tried digital banner ads through geofencing. We've had a little success with that, not great. I've tested out some stuff, but there are options. If you have a neighborhood that that is really, really good, and you want to pound that neighborhood in as much ways as you possibly can, you can actually geofence certain areas and serve them consistent digital banner ads on your phone. You can target in a lot of different ways with this as well. Like you can only target adults or people that are 35 or older who Google thinks has certain demographics like income or gender or a lot of other factors, and you can target pretty well. But I found that a lot of people, at least for me personally, with painting services, you know, don't always. I don't have the best return on investment on those type of banner ads, but it is powerful when you're really trying to just work an area. I know other painters before who have advertised consistently in areas right before they do a job in that area, and I've heard that that's been successful. And Facebook. Now, personally, I haven't had a lot of success on Facebook. We've been able to get some leads. I think the most important part personally is having a very active presence. Having a page that has, you have a post of 2 or 3 times a week on there. When customers look at your Facebook page up, they see lots of recommendations. They see a professional company that's active in the community, that's consistently doing work, that has cool projects. I have heard from a lot of people that Cabinets Facebook advertising has been very successful. That seems to get a higher traction from what I've been told. But personally, most of my efforts on Facebook have been focused more around exterior painting and general interior painting, and it's been a lower return on investment for me. But I think it's important to maintain that page as almost everybody has a Facebook account. And then email marketing. I think email marketing to your past database of proposals and actual customers is essential. We're usually doing e-blasts about every 6 weeks or so. I personally don't like to do too many of them because I don't want to annoy all my customers. But every 6 weeks, we'll send out an email. Some of them will be, newsletter styles where we give them a lot of good information. But what I've found are the most successful emails are the shortest ones possible. Hi, we have a few openings coming up. Do you have any painting projects? Something like that. 1-sentence emails. Thank you, Garrett. Has been extremely, extremely successful for us. I think it comes off as really genuine and personal, like we're actually reaching out to them personally, and it's quick and easy to read. So if you haven't tried any of those just quick e-blasts, I would highly recommend that. You can get a MailChimp account for not that much money per month and send as many emails as you like. And it's really important to stay on top of your previous customers and prospects. Few of the traditional marketing avenues that we've worked on. Trade shows. I can't say enough about home improvement trade shows, at least in my market. It might be different on a market-to-market basis. But the main big trade shows, the NARI, the Home and Garden, those type of shows, the really popular one that draws a lot of crowds, have always been very successful and a very high return on investment for me. Get a booth, seem like you're local, don't seem like you're the biggest painter in the world, and but professional, and fully staff it. Engage people as they walk by, and you will most likely get a very good return on investment. The best part about trade shows too are that they're usually in our off season when we need the work, January, February, March. I have done a lot of trade shows that are not home improvement specific, and some of them have been successful, some have not been. We do a golf show every year, and usually that provides a decent return on investment. Never anywhere near the big home improvement shows, but it's decent. We do the small home improvement shows, which are usually okay, more the smaller local ones. We've done stuff like pet expos, which has been good for us. We've done boat shows, sports shows. Those have not been the best personally. And overall, we just tested a lot of different trade shows, and most of them are worth your time. Obviously, mail. I'll go into mail a lot more later on. Radio. I've done a decent amount of radio. I found a lot of success on some of the home improvement shows. Now with the radio, I've never had an amazing return on investment on radio. It's been okay, mostly just because I've negotiated the pricing so hard. Never just take whatever price they give you at point blank. They will negotiate with you. They want your business. Look at the number of estimated listeners comparative to price, and really shop around. Now it might be tough with the upcoming political elections, but when COVID struck and all the retailers were no longer advertising. They were looking for inventory. I was able to get on the best program in southeastern Wisconsin, AM Talk, the highest listeners, for like $10 a spot. So take advantage of those opportunities when you can. I've also done a lot of talk shows on like the local home improvement shows from those radio stations, and they're okay. But as long as you can negotiate a good rate, they usually prove effective, and really helps you branding. It really helps you become the expert in a lot of people's minds, and you could use that for future sales as well. But overall, unless you're getting a great deal on radio, it's probably not going to be as high of a return on investment for most people as some other mediums that you can do, like pay-per-click or mail or trade shows, as an example. TV, I've done TV for other businesses. I've never done TV for painting, so I can't really talk much to that. But everyone I've talked to has not had a lot of success for painting on TV. But I would love for someone to prove me wrong. Yard signs, obviously any job that you do, you should have yard signs out. Some companies go the extra mile and they spread them throughout the city. They put them on popular street corners, and sometimes you get yelled at by the police. Make sure you know your local laws. But if you want to invest the time doing that, it'll probably have a good ROI. A lot of these avenues are time versus money. For me, I'm a busy guy. I'd much rather either pay people or I'd much rather pay advertising mediums to generate my leads than invest my own time. But some of the smaller businesses on the call, you might want to really focus on networking and yard signs and canvassing, knocking door to door. You can generate a decent business from very low marketing spend if you just invest your time in it. Networking, I'm involved in a lot of different organizations in my local community: NARI, Metropolitan Builders Association, a few other builders associations, Home Inspector Association, realtors. And even though I'm not personally the biggest networker or biggest fan of that, our sales team will do it. And it's proven to be very effective. You can get in with a lot of good connections, join your local Chamber of Commerce, and you can do a lot through networking. Canvassing, obviously door to door. I know a lot about the subject. If anyone's really interested in getting into that in the future, let me know. I can definitely pass you onto the right people and give you some good info. I'll keep it brief, but typically most canvassers can get a lead about every hour, at least in my area, if you train them right. But it is a lot of work, a lot of labor, very intensive amount of work, because most people don't like canvassing. They hate rejection. You will train in a lot of people, and a lot of people will quit before you can find the people that will continue to work for you on a regular basis. But if you're willing to put in the time and energy, it can be a very cost-effective avenue. And it's how I grew my business in College Pro and my very first year of 2-day painting. Obviously, company apparel and branding, like vehicle decals, I can't say enough about that. Make sure that you guys are wearing your decal T-shirts that look professional, professional outfits, that your trucks look good, that they can read it from afar. We have a giant logo stretching across our vans that you could probably see from half a mile away. And we get a lot of leads from decals. Great, something everybody should be doing. B2B prospecting. I'm not going to go into B2B much. This is a residential marketing conversation, but that's obviously could be huge for general contractors, new construction, builders, condo associations, something everybody should be working on. And customer reactivation campaigns. That is a no-brainer for any company. If you're not getting in touch with your previous customers and the previous people on your list through email, through newsletters, through phone calls, however you can get in touch with them without bugging them too much, just staying top of mind will generate a lot of referrals and a lot of business, and it'll probably be a very low cost for you. Definitely worth the time invested into it. We've also done a lot of other miscellaneous stuff like shopping carts, which was just absolutely horrible. Having our name on golf carts, various mail, like newspapers, magazines, Valpak, money mailers, whole bunch of other ones. a lot of lead generation sites. We've tested the gambit, and I personally find that, well, I'm a little biased, but I think direct mail has been the most successful for us personally. Varies by region. Pay per click is, I think, huge. I think every business should have a good Google AdWord campaign, um, and trade shows. Those have been kind of the three ROI staples for us. So, if any of you guys have heard of any pay for performance programs, they can be really great. I'm involved in a couple of them right now, actually. And if you work with various advertisers, some of them will work with you on a pay for performance basis. They're trying to get your business first at full retail price. But if you tell them, hey, I'd only be interested on a pay for performance basis, is that something you can do? And some of them will surprise you. As an example, I'm in the largest newspaper within southeastern Wisconsin. For one of my businesses, I'm in there on a daily basis, and the program is with Local IQ, USA Today Network. They gave me permission to talk about this ahead of time. I can't talk about the pricing details, but I can kind of give you a basis. But how it works with them is if you spend a little bit of money with them on some other services like pay-per-click management, or they do a ton of different marketing services, they will allow you to be on in newspapers, which they're in almost every major market throughout the country, not just USA Today, but a lot of local ones like the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel in my area. They're in almost every other major market, and they would work with you on like a cost per lead or cost per sale basis, where you're not paying for the individual newspaper ads. You do have to spend a little bit of money with them elsewhere to get that opportunity. And once you do get a sale, if you do it on a percentage of the sale basis, they would probably take more than what you might be able to get through very efficient marketing elsewhere. But I'm really excited for this winter with them. November through January, the toughest months to do. And I'm going to be in the newspaper every single day. And I'm only paying when sales close. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's one of them. Money Mailer is another one I'm doing a pay for performance based program on, mostly based upon, how many leads that we get. A lot of companies will do pay for performance on pay-per-click and Facebook lead management. Now, I've not found a good one that I really like to do that personally, so I'm not currently doing anything with them. But if you ask and you look hard enough, a lot of them will do it partially on a pay for performance basis, or they might do, you might spend the ads, but they only get paid their service fee if they generate a certain amount of leads. It's always worth giving it a shot with a vendor, because you never know what they're going to say, and that can help be a safety net for you. So if anyone does want to participate in Money Mailer or USA Today, I can actually help you get a great deal and set you up with the right people from those companies, and let you know what you can kind of negotiate and figure out with them. So please shoot me an email if that's something that you're interested in, and I'll do my best to help out. So a few avenues I personally say avoid in a lot of markets for painting services particularly. I have not had success in magazines. Now, I say newspapers. If you're going to pay full price for a newspaper, a lot of people aren't going to find you like they used to. And based on full price retail, I haven't seen a lot of success with that personally. But I do see enough leads to make it well worth it on the pay for performance program that I was talking about. But those shared mailers, they can be a little challenging to produce a good ROI, because a lot of, especially the ones that come in on a weekly basis, a lot of people aren't going to read through the entire magazine or entire newspaper to find your little ad on the corner of the 12th page. And you're not paying that much more comparative to solo mailers. So if you can get a good deal from these shared mailers, maybe they have inventory they need to fill or use up, and they're going to give you a great discount, it might be worth a shot. But I do a few of them based on a pay for performance program that I was talking about. But I would rarely pay full retail price for it. Radio and TV, personally, besides some radio shows, I've kind of exhausted those avenues myself. And at least in my market, every market is different. Some of you guys on this call, you guys might be killing it with radio or TV or billboards or anything like that. I've not had enough success with those to really create a good return on investment, but you might. Lead generation sites like Home Advisor, all that, I think that's the worst kind of marketing personally that you can do. I feel like a lot of competitors that don't know how to market and that are cheap and fighting for cutthroat jobs tend to be some of the contractors, and they sell it to a bunch of other people. And you're not getting branding at the same time. You're never building your brand if you're doing all your advertising through Home Advisor or sites like that. It's better, in my opinion, to get your name out there to thousands and thousands of people and maybe pay an extra $10 or $20 per lead or whatever it costs, and get that branding. And Houzz and Yelp, I've done both of those. I've not had any success with them or good experiences personally. But obviously you can try it. I've had a tough time, and they've been pretty strict about keeping you in contracts and renewing that. And then ongoing SEO services, I don't think that's smart. I feel like a lot of website companies, they don't put a ton of effort in every single month for how many thousands of dollars that they charge you for ongoing services. And I don't think you get the benefit from that personally. I do think that you should build a great website initially that's built optimized for search engines as much as possible, and focus on Google reviews and those Google map listings to generate as much possible Google traffic that you can. Now I'll go into a bit more about direct mail. So a little bit of the pros and cons. Some of the pros are very highly targeted mail pieces can create a higher ROI. Now I'm going to explain the difference between EDDM and more of a targeted direct mail program. They're both through the U.S. Postal Service. EDDM is every door direct mail. So what you do is you pick a postal route in an area, and on average, they usually have about 500 or so homes per postal route. You send it to everybody on that route. It's a little bit easier to do. You don't have to know as much about mailings and different postage classifications and permits and that kind of stuff. So that's why a lot of people do it. But you're paying almost the same price per piece, very close. But you have to hit everybody on the route. Now imagine that an average route is 500 people. 300 of those are actual homeowners. Maybe the other 200 are either renting houses or they're in apartments. And then let's say that 150 of those 300 homeowners have home values over $300,000. And in a lot of markets, a lot of people don't like to send to homes that are worth under $300,000. So you really only want to mail to 150 of those 500 homes. With EDDM, you have to send it to all 500 of them. With a more targeted mail program, you can send it to just those 150. So even though it's costing you a couple extra cents per piece, you can create a much better return on investment through doing that versus just blanketing a country or county with it. You have higher close rates compared to most sources. I love the retirees in my market, and a lot of people I find they just don't get as many quotes when they get postcards comparative to digital leads. A lot of them are retirees, they see a postcard from one person, maybe they got a referral from someone else, or they saw a truck drive by. And then a lot of our customers with direct mail leads are usually getting about 2 quotes compared to what we find 3 or 4 with a lot of digital sources. So we personally have higher close rates on those leads. It's really great for branding and building awareness. No matter what happens, almost everyone is at least going to look at that piece of mail before they throw it in the garbage. They might only look at it for a split second, and they see 2-day painting. And then, oh, I don't need painting services, it goes in the garbage. But 2 years from now that they've seen 8 or 10 different cards, they've seen a couple yard signs, trucks driving by, maybe a Facebook post, and now they're going to give you a call. Now they're more likely to, because they saw you, because they can now feel like they can trust you as a company. So that's why it's great for building awareness. People oftentimes hold on to the cards for months sometimes. They might know that they need a painting project sometime this summer, but they're not ready to give painters a call yet. They're put in their drawer, and then 2 or 3 months later, when they're ready to start getting quotes, they'll give you a call. And you can scale business and generate leads very quickly with direct mail. It's more of a science. You learn eventually how many people are going to call you. Let's say you send to 300 or 400 homes, and you get one call or one appointment set for every 300 or 400 homes that you send to. And then you do that a little bit over time. You learn that that's 300 is your number, and now you can if you want to get 10 leads, you send to 3,000 homes. If you want to get 100 leads, you send to 30,000 homes. And you can really control the lead flow very, very well with that. And you can generate a lot of actual traffic, a lot of sources. People only see you on certain avenues. If you're on a radio station, you're only on that one station. You have a percentage of the marketplace that likes listening to that station, and that percentage of people hear you. If you have Facebook, the only people that see you are the ones that are active on Facebook that you can really reach. Every other form, you have a select market that you're targeting, so you can give people leads from here and there. Direct mail, everybody, if you want to send to every homeowner in the area that has a home worth over $300,000, you can hit those homeowners, and you can hit a lot more people and just generate a lot more overall leads. Some of the cons are it's a larger investment. I don't recommend doing direct mail personally unless you have at least $10,000 a year to truly test it. With all the work it's going to take to really get it going, design the piece, figure out all the addresses you want to send to, get them printed. Small quantities are also way more expensive to print and to do mail haul services for. The list costs go up. All of your costs go down when you start ordering a bit more in bulk. But with about $10,000, you can really give it a good test and send to a decent amount of homes. So success will vary by region. Now, not all my, I do have clients for direct mail. I'm not trying to make this about that, but some clients do very, very well with it, and others do not. Others will get very few leads from it. There's a lot of factors involved based upon your success. Some of that is lead management, but a lot of that is geographic. One marketing avenue in, let's say, Denver, or San Francisco, let's use, their digital ones, I'm assuming, will be much higher performing than a mail piece. A lot of their buyers are very digital savvy. They're in the tech sector, and they're less likely to respond to a physical mailer. Where up here in Wisconsin, it works great. Retirees, they tend to love direct mailers. But if you're trying to target just, if you just want people between 20 and 35, if that's your client base in your area, you're probably going to have very, very low success with direct mail. So make sure you, obviously it's a risk, it's an investment. Anything you do with marketing is a risk. You have to be willing to, kind of experiment a little bit and see, test a few different avenues and see what works for you, and then grow the avenues that work. So I'll walk you through pretty detailed steps so you can create your own successful direct mail campaign. So step number 1, set a budget and plan the number of leads you would like each week. 2, find your demographic you want to target. And I will be talking about all these steps in more detail in future slides. 3, talk to a list provider and purchase a list of names and addresses. There's a lot of different ways to reduce postage expenses, and you want somebody that really knows what they're doing. Design your mail piece. Find a great printer. Find a good mail house. Ship the cards to USPS. And then field the leads and track your results by city and zip code to improve future campaigns. So, step number 1, start small. Some people will be very successful, like I said before, others, may not be. So I usually recommend setting a budget of 10 to 20K for the first year. And then if it starts killing it right off the bat, improve it. If not, maybe cut it a little short. But about 10 to 20 grand is a perfect test for a year. Ask yourself these questions too. Do you manage your leads well? A lot of some paying businesses won't manage their leads as well as others. You might somebody might call you, they might leave a voicemail, and you might get back to them 2 days later. That, in my opinion, is foolish. You should always try to get a hold of your leads as quickly as physically possible. Do you offer too little or too many services? If you're advertising that I am uh, a handyman, as an example, you literally do everything under the sun, you're not going to get that many calls for painting services. You might get calls for handyman services or other services, but you want to make sure that if you're a painter by trade, that service stands out and that you're not just everything to everybody. If you don't offer any money services, if you only do cabinet painting, nothing else that you do, um, you may or may not have as much success. It'll probably cost you more per lead because you're only getting people particularly interested in cabinet painting, and you're paying a decent amount per household. Sometimes with the really niche services, digital is oftentimes a better avenue than some of the traditional means because of that reason. Have a lot of people heard about you before? You always do better once you develop a brand. If you're Chuck and a truck painter and it's the first time they've ever heard of you, a lot of people are not going to give you a call, or they might give you a call if they think you're super cheap, but you're not going to get the professional customers that we all want. So do you have a strong web presence and online reputation? How is are you able to convert those leads? If somebody looks you up and you have a 3.0 Google review rating and everyone else is a 4.9, you might miss those leads. If your website doesn't look professional, or they can't tell what area you're located in, you might miss those leads. So make sure that you can really convert them well, because they don't just pick up a postcard or anything, and they don't just give you a call immediately. They do their research first, and then they give you a call if you win them over. Do you track your leads and lead sources well? If you're if you only track leads based upon whatever coupon that they gave you, or you just don't track your leads well, you're never going to know what is successful and what's not. Make sure that you're asking every customer personally, how did you hear about us, and dig into their answer. A lot of times people will say that I found your website. Well, how did you find my website? Did you get a postcard? Did you Google search us? Did you click on a Facebook ad? How did you get to that point? Do you accept most leads, or do you disqualify customers who seem, cheap, or, do you disqualify most of your leads? I personally, there's definitely controversy when it comes to disqualifying leads. Some painters, if you're an owner operator and you can't service that many estimates and you just want the best estimates, by all means, do that. But at that point, don't spend a ton of money on marketing if, you're having too many leads to service. I personally, we do vet them a little bit, and we do, have a minimum job size, and, we do, occasionally disqualify people, if the customer just really, really doesn't seem like a good fit, and we ask them, the question. You typically decks cost between $1,000 and $2,000. Is that something you're comfortable with? Sometimes they want to pay $100. But overall, you're better off going to as many appointments as you possibly can and try not to disqualify leads. And then how many leads do you currently bring in each week, and how many more would you like? If you bring in 20 leads a week on average with your current marketing efforts, but you really want to service 40, now you need 20 more leads. So that's a perfect avenue for, then you can define all your marketing sources. Well, I think pay-per-click is going to bring me an extra 3 leads a week. And if I do this, it's going to bring me an extra 2. Now I need 15 extra leads a week. Then you could basically figure out how many cards you need to send out. Step number 2, find your demographic. Who should you mail to? Who's your target customer? What age are they? Are they retired? What service are you targeting? How much money do they make? What is their home worth? What age is their home? Do they own their home or rent it? What areas do they live in? Personally, I don't like to target by income in my area, because we have a lot of retirees that may not come up as making a lot of money, but they're oftentimes my best customers. But I do target by home value. Personally, I do about 250K plus in my area. Uh, I do target by single family home ownership status. So if they don't physically own their home and it's not a single family home, I don't send to them. And then a lot of other people, they might target by age of the home. So maybe you only want homes that are 1979 plus, so you don't have to deal with lead precautions. Stuff like that's possible. And then geographically, I think that's the most important thing. You know, what area do they live in? You know, everybody has different areas that perform a lot better. And, you know, you need to learn those areas and decide where to target. Most companies I find do a lot better the closer they stick to home. They're just more local. People like hiring local, you know, they're more well known in that area already. They have a stronger brand already built. And, you know, a lot of times you're going to have your most success close to home. So step number 3, purchasing a list. So find an accurate list for fair price can be very challenging. Make sure your list provider regularly verifies and updates their list. You know, fair list pricing will cost you usually between 5 and 8 cents a record for larger quantities. I can get down a little bit less because I buy so much in bulk. Who should you mail to? Like I said before, homeowners, single family homes, good home value, good zip codes. Postal routes with 125 or more homes to reduce postage rates. There are a lot of factors involved in getting your postage down to a really cheap price per piece. And one of them is, you know, density of the route. The more homes you have that you mail to on the route, usually the cheaper the postage is. And 125 is a magic number for the program that I think is best with the USPS. Once you go down past there, you end up paying about 7 or 8 cents more per piece. And then this needs to be purchased in a certain way to meet USPS standards and maximize postage savings. And there's a lot that goes into that your mail house should know. So let me get a water break real quick, just 1 second. So step number 4, designing your mailer. I personally love the jumbo 2-sided postcard, 6 by 10.5 inches. You know, make it less is more. I'll show you an example on the next slide, but don't make it too wordy. You know, have a good looking design with a lot of pictures on it if you're looking to attract the professional, you know, customer that doesn't mind paying for quality services. Display your contact info, list of services, accreditations, and a brief differentiating statement. I rarely ever do more than those items. You know, for ours, we cater the size of the crew to the size of the job and work full continuous days until the project is complete. That kind of explains a 2-day concept. And then a promotion. This is definitely necessary to get higher response rates. I have tested it both ways. My favorite promotion is personally a 15% spring, summer, fall discount or 25% winter discount. Here's an example of a postcard that we've sent. And step number 5, finding a good printer. You know, make sure you look for fair pricing. It varies pretty significantly printer to printer and based upon quantities and other aspects. So make sure you're getting a good deal. Print quality, very important. I've hired a lot of bad printers in the past. It makes it blurry, colors inconsistent. Depends on how they run it, what kind of machines that they run it on. And there's a lot of factors involved. So make sure you got a printer that's doing things the right way. And customer service. You want your rep to make sure it's attentive and can meet all your deadlines. So make sure that you have a really responsible rep. Step number 6, find a mail house. Make sure your mail house fully understands how to maximize postage savings. Like, for example, they need to electronically barcode and sort them properly, have the right mailing permits, make sure your list is sorted well with the right info to reduce rates. You know, make sure you deliver to the right business mail entry unit in USPSs to save on that rate as well. If you just drop it off at your normal one, they'll charge you usually at least 3 or 4 cents more per piece. Give them 2 to 3 days before the desired drop date. Verify the postage cents on each campaign. It's very easy for your mail house to slip and pay an extra 10 to 12 cents per piece. If they just document one thing incorrectly and whoever is doing it, or they don't sort it or barcode it right or anything, you could end up paying a lot more. So make sure that you verify that in each campaign before it starts getting expensive. And then obviously make sure the price per inkjetting and sorting pieces is mostly what they do. And it should be less than printing charges for this step. And step 7, field leads and analyze results. So be available to take phone calls and respond to website inquiries immediately. Do not be too picky with new leads. You never know who will buy. Aim to keep your schedule at 2 to 5 days. Strong website, sales, follow-up systems, track all leads, eliminate poor areas in future mailings. And many people will take 3 to 4 weeks to call you. They do hold on to mailers, so be patient. A lot of times people expect if postcards go out on Tuesday, you're going to get 50 calls on Wednesday, and then that's it. People don't operate like that. You do get a lot of calls in the first couple of weeks, but you will get residual leads in the future as well. And just a quick blurb about my services. It's a full service campaign development and management. So usually I can actually do it for either the same price or less, per piece than what it would cost you to do it by yourself. I do have some development fees up front for my time kind of developing your campaign for you. But we do everything. We find the right addresses and homes to target. We design the mail pieces we have a lot of different templates you could choose from. Work with all the vendors and managing all aspects of the mailing logistics, analyzing the campaign results, printing, mailing, and shipping services, and campaign analyzing and adjusting for maximum ROI over time. The real reason why it's cheaper is just because even though I make a couple cents per piece, we order in bulk for everything. Our printing, we order so many cards for a lot of different customers, including my own businesses. We or have special deals on list pricing, mail haul services. We know how to get the postage rates down as cheap as possible, and it helps having a little bit of expertise in that area. And if anyone is interested in talking to me further about anything, it doesn't have to be my services. I'm happy to help with whatever. Here is some contact info. So there's my cell phone number. Feel free to shoot me a text. My email is probably best personally. My website's there, 2daypainting.com, tradesfix.com. And I will open it up for questions.
Okay, Garrett, I do have a couple of questions from Wyman Painting out in Oregon. What do you think is the best value for the money in advertising?
Which avenue is the best value?
Yeah.
See,
the best value for the money in advertising. That was his question.
Okay, that's a little bit. There is never marketing is never just a black and white answer. Where one thing is not necessarily better in different areas. It all depends upon pricing and a lot of other factors. You need to be able to track your lead sources very well and discover that what works best for you and your business over time. For me, my business, I personally get the best return on investment on paid advertising avenues on direct mail. Obviously, I'm talking about that. And pay-per-click, works pretty well, and my pay-for-performance programs. So I get enough leads where I can keep all my people busy through that, combined with referrals, repeat, and but as far as your best value, actually probably customer reactivation campaigns. Take advantage of your previous customers if you're not doing that already. Keep in touch with them, ask them for referrals. That's probably the best value, and you will close a lot of those leads.
Great advice. And one more question. I don't know if I've got an answer for this one, Garrett. Any underrated gems that are free?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot that you can do that's free. Like obviously a Facebook page is free. You can post regular posts on that. The best free sources is your time. You know, in my opinion, in order to get success, you either need to spend time or money. You can go knock on doors, you can network, you can, go to random meetings, talk to builders, stop in their doors, talk to condo associations. A lot of that is free and you can have a lot of success with it, but you're exchanging your time. And I personally would rather exchange money than my time. But what's your gem?
Okay, very good. Well, moving along, I want to thank Garrett for his presentation today, and thank you all for your participation. I'd like to take this time to invite you to next month's webinar, which is Tuesday, October 20th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, entitled Shifting Your Sales System for Success During Challenging Times. And that will be presented by Brian Young of Home Painters in Toronto. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe, everyone. Thank you again, Garrett.